Alright, first is Androxus. So, the first thing, or I guess the only tip that I'm going to give for him, so it's just one tip, your reversal can't be hit under your feet. So if you're playing against somebody like Leon or somebody else with really high burst damage, or even things like a Terminus ult, you can literally just block the damage as long as you're aiming right here. As long as you're aiming, like, basically in the middle, but a little bit lower, so that, like, for Termult, it can still hit your feet, so you have to aim a little bit lower. And then for Leon ult, you just basically have to aim at her and block all that damage. A lot of people think, oh, they're just gonna hit my feet, oh, they're just gonna hit my head. No, it actually can't. So use those for very high burst damage abilities, and you will basically 99% of the time outtrade them because they just hit themselves with, like, 1600 damage. So yeah. For Bach, there's two things you can do. Either one, when you're getting low, you can try to break LOS for that, I think it's 2 seconds of a caught, and then heal, so you can get your full heal. If you can't do that, then the other tip I would give is you can weave in basic attacks in between every single ability you have. And so when you're hitting somebody, you can basically just one-tap them when your abilities are up. So as you can see, I'm gonna hit the Buck, or the Victor, and then I one-shot him. So yeah, those are the two tips. One, if you're getting chased or you're getting hit, break LOS, use your recovery for quick heals to get rid of that caught. And then with Bounce House, you can just basically one-tap people. Just intervene basic attacks in between both with the leap and with your net shot. And then you'll one-shot people, just like that. With Caspian, this applies more to when you're running everywhere at once, but you can still do it without it. When fighting somebody, you can use your dashes to throw them off of where you're actually at, and to get more burst damage, plus build up stacks. So when you're fighting somebody, you can use this as a offensive tool, and then throw them off guard. Since a lot of people play controller, this is very good, because you're moving very quickly. And you're moving in a opposite direction of where you're at. So if they're on controller, they kind of have to take a bit longer to turn around. If they're on Master Keyboard, this won't bother them as much, but it's still, you know, throwing them off. I actually just threw myself off there. You're still throwing them off quite a bit, and doing extra burst damage, like that. That's basically, you can still do this with, like, measured cadence, or, whatever it's called. It's got some heft, but this is best with running everywhere at once, because you just get a ton more burst damage on a very low cooldown, and then you still have your escape ability for when you actually need it. For Evie, you want to start weaving in movements when you're using sword. So this is normal sword's distance, and it ended about right there. Now we're gonna throw in some janky movements to try and throw them off, and you get the exact same distance I just hit the wall. So you want to be throwing in movements to really throw people's aim off and make it harder for them to hit. Obviously, you don't have to go the full distance, and you just want to try and move it around, so you make it extremely hard for you to hit, and that's what makes Evie pretty good, is because of her janky movement that she can actually do when a good player plays her. And you just keep moving to make it extremely hard to hit, but you still go in the general direction of where you want to go. And so they can't hit you, but you're also still gaining the exact same distance as you would before. So again, to be throwing in that janky movement, and you're still going to get exactly where you would have before. Alright, so for Caspian, we'll go ahead and up here. So the best thing for Caspian, honestly, is a lot of high ground. When you have high ground as Caspian, you're able to get a lot of poke while still being able to back up, heal, or whatever you need to do. And you still have a lot of range. So the first thing is that if you're getting pushed, you can actually strafe and throw your body off of the high ground. Why is this good? Well, they can just see your invisibility. Most people actually don't see your invisibility, and most people will just follow the body and go damage the body down there. It's a lot better when running body and soul, or unfinished business. But if you're getting pushed, you can literally quickly throw it off. I fucked it up there. But you can quickly throw it off the edge, and it will throw them off. They either have to go chase the body, do damage, or just follow you. And again, you want to use this when you're initially getting pushed, so you're not taking that much damage. So again, you can strafe back while throwing it off, and then you still kept your high ground while baiting them off of high ground. So If they see you in your invisibility, you still make distance. Let's say you're on split one quarry and this is balcony. If I throw it off and go here into the room, I still make that distance by being over here. Okay, just pretend my body fell off. And so I make that distance into the room, and now I have cover and safety to play against them. And they either follow the body that went down on the ground, and it might take a little bit of damage because of it, or they chase you, which they probably didn't know that you went in the room. And so, again, you just want to strafe back. This might be a little bit harder on controller. But again, the easiest way to do it is by jumping, looking off, pressing W, and then pressing D. That's the easiest way to strafe back onto high ground without falling, is by throwing it off and then strafing back with D. The reason why not W or S is because S is a bit harder to strafe back because it's a direct opposite movement, and so it's going to be a little bit harder to instantly strafe back. Whereas if you do this, it's a little bit easier, where I'm basically only jumping off and I'm only holding D. So again, you're basically just holding D. I fucked it up again, but if I wasn't dog shit at the game, I would have thrown my body off the ceiling up there. The other thing you can do is that, let's say I'm fighting them in this hallway. I can go around the corner, leave my body here, and bait them into following me, and then I have the advantage of both distracting them with my body here, and I have the now damage advantage, because I will get a basic or two in before they even realize that I'm behind them. So if I'm fighting here, I go around, and you would be surprised how many times this like actually works. It works almost every single time. I literally just walk around the corner, place my body. They see it, they're probably going to start doing damage to it, or they're looking for my soul, and then I just damage them for that. So yeah, that's Caspian. For Koga, this goes for mostly Dragon's Fang over Adrenaline Junkie, but you can still do it in Adrenaline Junkie. It's just this basic combo. 1, 2, 3, dash, dead. The reason this works on Dragon's Fang mostly, or for the majority, is because you want to be conserving your health, and as you see, I barely lost any health. So if I hold it like this, and I have the right build, you're basically not going to lose any health. And it's just a 3-tap combo on squishies, and then you dash and kill them, and then there you go, there's your free pick. While not losing any health. So you just do 1, 2, 3 of basic attacks with a claw, and then you skewer with your heal card, and then you don't lose any HP plus killing them. With Maeve, you can do the exact same Street Justice combo with Caberglue, and you can honestly do it a little bit better with Rogue's Gambit because it resets the cooldown of pounce. But Caberglue, 1, 2, dash, and they're dead on squishies. The only time Street Justice is better than any of her talents is if it's like a triple tank comp. Yeah, you can do the exact same combo with basic Caberglue. And then with Rogue's Gambit, you can't 3-tap, you can't do this and then that. But when you kill them on the last basic, it does reset your pounds. Meaning you have another one, and then you can go to somebody else, and then do it again. And there you go. That's just like your basic combo. You do this with Street Justice, you do this with Caberglue, and you just want to tap any squishy, basically. There you go. With Moji, when you start getting an emoji, the first thing you're going to want to learn, which is a big tip I'm going to give you, is the B-hop. This is going to be normal scamper distance, about halfway. That's not too bad. With Scamper, you can actually double this distance. So let's hope I don't mess this up. And you basically just spam jump, and you can still keep going, but in a normal game, you're only going to get about 1 to 2 because of how laggy the server actually is. But yeah, it basically, so the way to do this is you're going to cast Scamper, you're going to jump halfway through, and then you're just going to spam jump. About halfway through, because if you do it too early, it actually slows your movement down, as you see here. It actually slows your movement down there, and then you won't do it till the end. What are the benefits of this? Both, you get more damage, or not more damage, more distance, plus you start the cooldown of Scamper while you're still getting movement. So yeah, there you go. That's Scamper, B-hop. For Skye, it's very simple, but not a lot of many people know this. Throw it on the wall. Throw your smoke on the wall. People can't see it. Well, this is beneficial because nobody besides you can see that smoke. That's the only thing they can see. Now, yes, they can see you, obviously, if they're close enough, but it's still the exact same AoE from the outside wall, so it'll only be about a half circle. But It is on the wall. They can't see it, so it makes it a lot harder to know where Skye actually is, and that's the best tip I will give for Skye. For Talus, you should be looking to use your ult in fights, too. You don't have to just use it as a dismount option. This ult does a pretty decent chunk of damage. You can also chain it with your punch to get 1200 instant damage. Should you have your rune shovel down? Yes, 100%. The only reason I'm using that there is to get my cooldowns back. But yeah, you can get 1200 damage and then just pop overcharge and one-shot somebody. And you don't even have to use overcharge. You can basically just ult, punch, and then basic somebody down. As long as you instantly punch, you will get the damage off. And then it's 1200 damage. So yeah, be using it in fights more. Don't just use it for a dismounting option. While yes, it is good for a dismounting option, you can still use it in fights and do a ton of displacements. Kind of just pick somebody else, force people to look at you. When you have rune shovel down, you force them to look at you, you do a ton of damage, and then you TP back, getting your team very important cooldowns from the enemy team, making it a lot easier to win the fight. For 7, the best tip I can give is to literally never use automatic. There's no use cases where you even want to use automatic. Even in medium range and in long range, it just doesn't work because the effective range was reduced. Use burst all the time. Unless you're literally, like, on top of them, then you can use mag dump, because that's the only time it's good. But if you're in any other range, just use burst, and it does more damage with tribunal upgrades. And then it also will have more range than automatic. As you can see, if I switch to automatic, I cannot hit them. And so you just use burst, you have more range, you have more damage overall. Just a very bad mode. Don't ever go into automatic. For Vatsu, the tip I'm going to give is how to do his just bread and butter combo. This is going to be kunai, shadow bombs, kunai, and then they're dead. You can do this basically like anywhere. You can be up in the air, hit them, down. I fucked it up there, but you get the point. You hit them, and then you hit them again, and then you shadow bomb them. The only time they live that is if they have a healer, and yeah, and then you just go ahead and retreat. And there you go. That's how you one-tap squishies. For Vora, you need to be using your ult more as a getaway option than an actual elimination option, because honestly, it's not that good of an ult for getting eliminations. Yes, it's an execute. Cool. But it's a lot better for getting away because it gives you mitigation and movement speed. And since she only has one tendril, that isn't that great, if I'm being honest. You can use your ult. You still conserve charge. The longer you use it, the more charge you're going to use. So you want to cancel it as soon as you're out of LOS or back to your team. Usually about halfway, and then you'll save about 25%. And then there you go. That's how you get away with Vora. That's what a lot of people do. You can still use it for kills. If you're full HP and you know you won't die after using it, then yeah, go for it. But for the most part, you're going to want to use it to run away. And there you go. For Zhin, this is very similar to Andro, where you should be using counter instead of Billow for a lot of different scenarios, because counter counters Drogo's ult, it counters Term ult, and it just counters a ton of other very high valuable burst damage ults. Leon ult, stuff like that. You're getting pushed by Leon, or you're pushing Leon and she ults, cool, you do that, counter her ult. You're getting pushed by Drogo's with ultimate, you can counter, and since Drogo's ult counts as damage, it will counter it back, and you actually don't die to Drogo's ult. So yeah, but using it in those scenarios instead of Billow, because Billow will be a lot more valuable because you're completely immune to damage on top of a higher cooldown. Meaning you have to say Billow for truly needed circumstances. And you can use counter for those high burst damage things because it just counters all damage and not just some. So yeah.